Thank you, Sean. I call Timothy Gaston.
Thank you very much, Principal Deputy Speaker. I want to begin to focus the attention of the House on the figure in clause 1.2 of this bill, £31,041,393,000. Yes, it's not quite the 57 trillion we were promised yesterday in the estimates, but even so, it's indeed a generous amount of money. I would remind this House that none of that money is raised by this Assembly. The finances we debate today are only available to Northern Ireland by virtue of our membership of the United Kingdom. In Schedule 2, Part 1 of the Budget Act, on page 41, we have the Department of Health estimates with a spend of £4,053,054,000. It is noteworthy that this figure allows us to provide an NHS which does not require patients to pay €80 a day for inpatient services at hospital. That figure also ensures that no one needs to cough up €100 when they attend accident emergency, or even €65 to see their GP. And finally, I would highlight that Schedule 2, Part 1 on page 41 of the Budget Act means that the Fire Brigade won't send you a bill after they are called out. All of which is not the case to our friends across the border in the Irish Republic. My goodness, members, it's great to be British. That said, as I highlighted yesterday, there are many ways in which we spend that generous sum from Westminster which are highly questionable. Frankly, I think we would benefit from a Northern Ireland Department of Government Efficiency. And if, as conceded by the Minister and highlighted by previous speakers in this debate, it took a single TUV MLA to pick up on an error in the billions of pounds. I remind the House of the difference between a billion and a trillion. 1 billion seconds is 31 years and 8 months. 1 trillion seconds is 31,710 years. A vast difference. That's why it was important to pick up in this issue yesterday. But let's focus on the numbers that we can relate to and rely on. If we were to open up our books to Doge and Elon Musk, what would he make of the table in Schedule 1, Part 2 on page 29? Do members really believe that we should continue spending over £1 million a year on North-South Ministerial Council, which won't answer straightforward questions from members of this House? Indeed, a body which says it isn't bound by the Freedom of Information Act, which applies to every other agency of government in the UK. What would Doge make of a budget which disregards the Department of Finance's own guidance and awards £24 million to departments without any bespoke legislation in place? Would Elon Musk continue to send thousands of pounds to Stonewall, a discredited organisation which has been abandoned by the public and private sector in the UK?
Could you please take your seat? I don't know who Doge is. Is it the Department for Justice? No. Elon Musk isn't part of this Assembly, and neither is Trump. So while I note your craft and citing the page numbers, can you please stick to this Minister's budget bill? Thank you.
Principal Deputy Speaker, anything I've said in my remarks relates to pages in the budget bill and within the context of that. But indeed, I believe we all know the answers to the questions that I posed. But on a positive note, I will observe from this day forward the Assembly cannot wash its hands of issues and blame London, which many of the members in this House love to do. When this budget passes, the financial decisions contained within it, every unwise penny spent, and there are plenty of those, will carry the Maid and Stormont stamp. I close by making one final observation. In his response to the debate on the estimates yesterday, the Minister questioned if it represented value for money to deliver the estimates book to all members within this House. If that was a polite way of questioning whether MLAs in this place ever opened the book, I share his scepticism. I would, however, place on record that it was very helpful to myself and my office when preparing for the debate yesterday and indeed today. There is certainly a case for reviewing whether it is necessary to produce copies for every single MLA, but it would be most regressive step to take if he were to cut the printing of hard copies of the estimates book to all other MLAs in this House. And indeed, it was because of this book there's a number of MLAs have been able to scrutinise what's come before us and pick up errors therein.